Have you ever eaten edible and instantly you regretted it because you knew it was going to be a bad trip? Well, I'm going to share with you how you can stop that from happening and why it probably happened in the first place. So, hey, my name is Jason, in case you're new to the channel. And you may have been seeing me go around Johannesburg and showing you how beautiful of a city of it is, but most importantly, showing you how safe it is here and how the Western media is not showing us what's really here. Like, this is a really cool place. I really love Joburg. And and you hear me talk about success, what it is, and how to get it in the three areas of life that I focus on, which are happiness, health, and wealth. In this video, I'm going to be talking to you about edibles. And you may be like, Jason, what does that have to do with happiness, health, or wealth? And I'm going to be real with you. It has everything to do with all three of those. But before I start going into that, let me tell you this. This is the definition of success, and it's from Earl Nightingale. He says it's the progressive realization of a worthy ideal. And I don't think there's anything more worthier than happiness, health, and wealth. I'm just going to be honest with you. And cannabis has stuff to do with all of those. For the happiness, if you've ever smoked marijuana or if you've ever ate an edible, you get the gigglies. You like start laughing, things can be funny. You have a great time, especially if you're at the right dosage. Health wise, cannabis helps with your endocannabinoid system. Your endocannabinoid system is a part of your nervous system, and so this is why cannabis is a full body spectrum. Like it helps every part of your body from head to toe, and also it helps with wealth. Like there's tons of money in the cannabis industry, guys. Like you'd be crazy. You wouldn't even imagine how much money is in the United States when it comes to just cannabis alone. And there is a lot of money if you know how to get into this industry and do it correctly. So that's why I tell you, like, cannabis has everything to do with my three principles of life, which are happiness, health, and wealth. And so today I want to talk to you about about edibles, but exactly like why is it some people have bad trips when it comes to edibles, and what is a better solution to it? So most of you may not know because oh my god, yeah. So most of you may not know I am a heavy cannabis user and I'm a huge cannabis advocate. If you haven't seen me in person, you won't know it. But if you just saw some of my videos in passing and things like that, you don't really know that part of me because I don't show it on camera. Even though I do go to different events and things like that, I don't show it on camera how fully it is a part of my life. And so I really realized today, I was like, you know what, man? I need to start talking about this more. I need to be more open and honest about it and letting people really know who I am and what I am when it comes to cannabis. And so I am technically a disabled veteran, meaning I was in the United States Army. I went to war. I was in the Iraq War, Operation Enduring Freedom. And after my military service, I ended up injuring my back. Well, I think it was during my military service, I ended up injuring my back. Don't want to go into the details about it. Um, Ended up, let's fast forward a couple of years because my back kept going out and everything. I was already on steroid treatments. They ended up saying I needed a spinal fusion. So I have a spinal fusion. I have 10 screws in my back from my L1, no, L4, L5, S1, S2. That area in my lower back, I actually have a spinal fusion. From there, I ended up losing range of motion, things such as that. So fast forward, I was in a lot of pain for a lot of years, even after the surgery, even though it did help. Cannabis was one of the things that I used to get, I don't want to say return to normal living because it's not a return to normal, but I will say cannabis helped me return to a manageable living where I'm not just, stuck in pain each and every day. So like it used to be, I was in pain from sitting down. I was in pain from standing up. I was in pain from laying in the bed. It was just felt like I was in pain from existing. So I don't have those issues anymore, which is, I'm going to tell you straight up, that feels amazing. If you talk to anybody who deals with chronic pain, they will tell you like they can just get a couple of seconds of just that one spot where they can just lay down and their back not hurting. They'll be like, man, that's the best moment of their life. And so I used cannabis to help get me through that. And the way I used it was I started researching cannabis. I went, I went deep into the rabbit hole. really learning and understanding what cannabis was about. And so when I started understanding and doing all my research and started learning all about one, the endocannabinoid system, which I didn't even knew existed, and most modern medicine was not even recognizing it as a part of the nervous system at that time. So once I learned that, plus on top of how cannabis was used medicinally for so many years, and how it became illegal it only became illegal because the United States, the government made it illegal from, really came from the logging industry, because marijuana at that time, or cannabis, which is the plant name, it was, and it's not the plant name actually, like there's different names for everything, but cannabis. Um, and so cannabis was the main competitor with the tree logging industry. So really think about it. If people really knew the truth and they knew, like, hey, we can just grow fields of cannabis and use those for printing paper and things like that, clothes, fabrics. Like you can even make hempcrete out of it, which is a building block for, you can make homes out of it. Like there's so much industrial use from it. And plus, it could have made a better hemp oil, which could have been a better substitute for, instead of gasoline engines. Like it was so many industries that could have been collapsed because of cannabis alone, and it would have really regulated society. I'm gonna be honest with you, because if something can be grown so easily, like that means your supply and demand is staying at a neutral level. Like if demand going up higher, it's easier to supply because everything is affordable and cost efficient. And so with that conflict of interest, man, like, you know, politics are politics. So cannabis ended up becoming blacklisted. All of that research and knowledge that was known about it was it was like the book 1984. Like it just became where, not 1984, George Orwell, Fahrenheit 451, I believe, the one where they're burning the books. And that's literally what happened to a lot of the cannabis literature, the stuff that was known about it, a lot of the books that was about it. And so all of that information was lost to that campaign that was called the War on Drugs. And that became a global thing. Like globally, all of that information was considered illegal. And then so I ended up doing some studying, watching videos of, it was a couple of Israel doctors that was using cannabis and experimenting for medicinal uses. I started watching a lot of videos around that. Then I started getting deep into some documentaries. And then once I decided to first try marijuana, I had drove to, out of the blue, I just made the decision. I was like, you know what, man, I'm gonna try marijuana for the first time. And this is what's funny. And it shows you like how serious I am about this. My brother smoked weed my whole life. Like I have people in my family that smoked weed my whole life. And I would not ask him for weed for my first time. I was like, I don't know if he's smoking the real stuff. So I was like, let me drive all the way to Colorado, and I'm gonna just figure it out there because it's all medicinal, it's legal. And so that shows you how serious I am about this, guys. Like, I'm not one of those people who just be like, oh, okay, I'm gonna do this. Like, the reason why I jump into things is because you don't see all the research I do behind the scenes. And most of my family didn't even know I was smoking the whole time. Most of the time I was smoking until I really started getting healing off of it. And so that first joint I ever smoked, it was my first time getting a good night's sleep. And mind you, at this time, I was averaging about an hour to 2 hours of sleep a night. And I didn't take any medication or nothing to go to sleep. So that gave me my first good night's sleep. And then from there, I went deeper and deeper into it. I had a little volcano vaporizer. I would vape it all day. And then I was seeing like the release of pain, the inflammation going away. I was able to move around more. And then I would say about after 1 month of using it consistently, like every day, I started seeing my thoughts became clear. I was able to focus more on the things that I wanted. And I really do think because of my cannabis use, that's why one of the reasons why I'm here where I am today. Because once I started smoking, I started really focusing in and understanding I didn't want to be in the United States anymore. I wanted to live in other countries. I wanted to travel, see the world. And so from there, that started me doing like a vision board, and I started envisioning where I wanted to go, how I wanted to live my life, what I wanted to look like, and I just literally, unbeknownst to me, I was using the law of attraction to where I became this nomad, where I am now in my third country of living, Johannesburg, South Africa. And I really think a lot of this correlates to every part of it and everything that I've been through in my life up to using the marijuana. And so when I ended up leaving the country and going to Central America, this is where I went because I was isolated. I wasn't in a village, but I was in a really small town called Bejuco. It's next to Coronado, Chame, Punta. What's that? Punta. Yeah, Punta Chame. Real cool, real good area. Great people. Real quiet area. But when they turn up out there. It can get loud, yo. Especially New Year's when they be exploding the big paper machete dolls they have. It gets real loud. And so when I was in Bejuco, because one, I didn't understand Spanish at the time, and most of the people didn't really understand English. Um, and the only person that really knew English was my neighbor, Mr. Carlos. Great family, man. I love them. Can't wait to visit them again because I been wanting to go see them because really awesome people. Like I love Panama. You just don't know. Um, and so there, I started really experimenting really heavy with marijuana. And what I mean by experimenting, I was experimenting on myself. And so I kept reading the research, I kept understanding things, and then I kept um, connecting that with information I was learning from different plant-based doctors. And so I started trying, not trying, but I started pairing it with different things. Because if you ever been to Panama in Central America, like it's a tropical place, so everything you have grows out there. Um, so I had a papaya tree, I had a noni tree, I had a mango tree that was over 100 years old. I had a moringa tree that I planted from scratch. What else I had? I think that I have another type of tree. There was two types of mango trees. Um, I think there might have been one other tree. I can't remember for sure. But like with that, I was just playing with all the different types of plants and everything, the different roots, and making different things and using it with marijuana. And so from there, I really started understanding the power of what cannabis can do and how to really utilize the endocannabinoid system. And also, I started seeing the difference of what it takes to get medicinal levels and what it takes to just be at levels that are just smooth, mellow out. And one of the big things that I noticed that make a difference is how is your source, your can of oil, can of butter, whatever tincture, whatever it is, how is it sourced? And because if it's not using the best ingredients where they literally combine 1 to 1 on each other, you can really, I don't want to say create something toxic, but you can create something that creates a bad after feeling. And this is how I think some people be having these bad trips or they do too much because so many people don't understand making can of butter, can of oil, and all of these things. It's so much more than just grinding up some cannabis and throwing it in there. It's way more than that, yo. Because and I'm talking about at a chemical and a cellular level. Like you have to understand what you're doing, and most people don't know what they're doing. I'm just being 100% honest with you. So most people make it with crude methods. Most people still use animal butter, which is not a good method to use it at all. And that's one of the reasons why so many people have bad trips because you're ingesting it at such a, it's not a large amount, but the fat absorption rate is large. So what most people don't get is because animal fat absorbs faster, it hits the liver faster and the pancreas faster. It goes into an absorption modes where it's sitting on top. So if you ever seen one of those models where it's showing you diabetes in a person's liver or pancreas and it's showing the little fat molecules? Man, I wish I had a physical representation. But the weirdest thing you'll need, because if you ever saw that, that'll explain to you what it is when you're using animal butter, butter, fat, stuff like that. If you're using a fat source that's not the best for the human body. And I'm not saying you need to go vegan, guys. I'm just telling you this is at a absorption at a nutrient macronutrient rate. Uh, it literally sits on the pancreas, and so because it's sitting there, you're constantly getting the absorption, or you're getting the absorption of the cannabinoids a lot faster than you should because it's not going through the pancreas and it's not slowly regulating and sending out waves at a appropriate time. Now, what I found out for myself when I started studying on myself was using coconut oil is a better extraction method because it combines one-on-one with it, and then there's ways to make it more medicinal or just have it as recreational. So one, I want to show you like what is it supposed to look like. Like, please look at this. Like, do you see how beautiful and even that green color is? Like, that's what it's supposed to look like, guys. When you're making canna oil, canna butters, it should be all one color. Now, this what you see here on the bottom. This is just a little bit of the sediment matter. So, like when I make my canna oils and canna butters, I do 100% absorption, meaning I take the cannabinoids from the seeds, the stems, everything, and that's just a little bit of matter that's left behind. So that's where you get that little dark ring. The dark ring, be honest with you, I actually like using that part more for soaps and scrubs. I found like it does really good for the skin. Because I use this stuff for my skin too. I don't just eat with it. Like when I tell you this is my life, guys, like this is a part of my life. This is a part of my daily routine. This is one of those reasons why I cannot spend too much of my time living in countries where they feel like this is illegal or this is something that's harming people. Because I know firsthand how great these substances are and how great these can actually help people. And so that's why I want to talk about it too, because I feel like when people start hearing like, "Wow, wait, Jason does for this, he does this." Well, you mean so every time I see Jason, he's high? Yes, I am. Like I use this every day, guys, on a daily basis. Like smoking, I eat it. I eat it for breakfast. I throw it in my smoothies. I use it for lotion. I used to make soaps with it. I'm going to actually get some shea butter. I think I found a site on Instagram where they selling shea butter in bulk, and I'm going to actually make some whipped shea butter canna cream and just use it as like a hand exfoliant. Like it's really good to just I know it's starting to get drier here, and my skin dries out fast. So it's real good for me when I do that. Um, I used to make it for medicinal things, like especially when I was sick. So I used to mix it with Nigella sativa, black seed oil. It was really good. I used to oil pull with it. That's something I'm going to start back doing. It was funny because when I just reminded myself a couple of days ago that I was going to start back oil pulling with it, I remember why I stopped. So I ended up I was oil pulling with it for a couple of months. Then I bit into a French fry and my tooth fell out. But you know when it's like your tooth, but it's not your tooth. So if you're not familiar with the military, the way it works, really we're just free test subjects. So when people are talking about how great the military give you free dental, I'm not talking about South Africa or any other country, but the United States. Like they don't tell you the people doing your dental work or the people who's learning how to become a dentist. And so it took me a while to figure this out until they made a mistake and got a drill bit stuck in my tooth. That's when I realized, oh, these aren't the people that I really want operating on my mouth. But I ended up having an implant, and I didn't even know about it. Like I'm dead serious, I didn't even know about this. And I think it happened when I had my wisdom teeth pulled, because when I had my wisdom teeth pulled, they gave me this really, man, it was like a really tiny blue pill, smallest pill I ever saw, and they gave me two, and I took one. Cause I'm not a big pill person. Let me tell you that. Like I'm not a big med compliance person at all. So they gave me two, but I just took one. Some just said, "Hey, just take one, man. Don't trust this." And so I took one. Like, and at the time they told me, and I swear, like in 15 seconds or something, it felt like I was just drunk. Then, like in a minute, I just felt drugged. And at that time, my roommate in the military, he was helping me. He walked me to the car, drove me there, and then I don't even remember getting into the dentist chair. After that, I remember at one point I was looking at myself from up above because they were doing something over me, but I don't know. And even when I got back home, it was just my mouth was packed full of gauzes and stuff. And I remember the sergeant major at that time. He did a walkthrough in the barracks, and I remember he came through. He saw me. He was like, "Yo, just get back in bed, man. You don't even try this." Because I think I was trying to do the soldiering, but I just wasn't soldiering enough. So he's like, "Look, just get back in bed." And I was remember that I was like, "Okay, thanks, Sergeant Major." I passed back out. Like, so I think that's when they put it in. Like, who knows what it was for? But I remember at that time I was scared. I'm like, man, the government been monitoring me. So I ended up burying it in a whole nother area of Panama, just in case they still tracking me. But like, that's how good this stuff worked. It made my teeth a lot straighter. I had a couple of teeth that was starting to grow back in, and I can't say for sure like you just start oil pulling this it'll do that, but that was just some of the things that I was getting from it, and it's just using this like. So far, like everybody here that I let try it out, they actually love it, and I just wanted to share that because I really wanted people to understand like stuff like this, man. Like, don't be listening to the media and all these stuff in history books and in even some of these medical books. They're lies. They're just straight up lies. There's science that contradicts all of these things. And there's a reason why this plant helps with so many conditions because of your endocannabinoid system. And I'm pretty sure probably here in South Africa, not that many people know about it. And it's funny to me sometimes when people talking to me about weed and they don't know how knowledgeable I really am on it. Like, yeah, I'm not a grower. I don't grow marijuana and stuff like that. But when you're talking about on a medicinal level, there's not very many people in this world that has experimented with it as much as I do. And I still experimenting with it today. Like even now, like I'm experimenting with psychedelics, with mushrooms and things of that nature. Like guys, there's plant medicines out here that can be changing your life overnight. And I got to be honest with you, like I haven't been doing you all a service because me being quiet behind it, or you have to get to know me in person to hear this part of me, like it's not helping, and it's not going to help me help not me but help you. The longer I keep quiet and not talk about little things like this, not showing you what is it supposed to look like. Like I'm tired of hearing people's stories of my bad trip, and then when I really talk to them and hear what they say, you know what the truth is, guys? They can't even tell me they took what they thought they took. They don't even know because they're getting these things from unreliable sources, people who know a person that knows a person that got it from a person. And I'm telling you straight up, like most of you are getting laced with things that nobody even know about. It's like microdosing. Like so many people out here are telling people what they need to do for microdosing, and they don't have a clue what they're talking about. They never even microdose. I've been microdosing for the past year and a half now, every single day, nonstop, guys. Like, who can tell me they're doing that? Like, I have capsules right now. I'm going to take one after I film this. Like, who can tell you that? Like, I'm telling you firsthand, I am a huge, huge cannabis user. When I go get my hair cut, I'm high. When I go get my massages, I'm high. When I go out to eat, I'm high. If I hop in an Uber, I'm high. If I'm walking down the street filming, I'm high. If I'm walking to the bank to pay a bill, I'm high. If I'm going to buy something, I am high. Let's see, what else is there? If I'm taking a shower, I'm high. Like, I'm high all the time, guys. I use cannabis. My name is Jason and I use cannabis. I use psychedelics also. There are very, very, very medicinal things that are going on within these plants. And it's time for people to know, man, like you have the right to make an educated choice on what you want to use in your life. And I'm telling you right now, anybody that was to try some of this and they use it on a daily basis for like a week, once you saw how you felt after that week and you just like some of that pressure and that stress, that bullshit of the day that you just been piling on, and it's off your shoulders, you'll never stop. And you'll be at the place where I'm at, where I'm like, hey, everybody needs to know about cannabis. Everybody needs to understand what this can do for your life. How can this help you? Like, and really ask yourself, if you haven't done it in all these years, why or is your health? Why is things declining? Like, why are people who's never done this before, their health ain't as good as people who've done it? Like, I've been using cannabis every single day for the last 10 years of my life, I want to say. No, 10 years? No, not 10. The last 9 years, I believe. So every single day for the last 9 years of my life. I'm not a criminal. I'm not a thug. I'm not out here hurting people. I'm usually one of the nicest people you ever meet if you met me in person. And I'm not some dumb, stupid person on the street like they show you in these movies where they're licking windows or can't put together a complete sentence. I run my online businesses. Even with me being high, I'm actually sitting here right now recording a video, building my brand around myself using social media. And I'm sitting here talking to you and having a coherent conversation. Like, guys, how much more can I show you? Like, this isn't what you think it is. And ask yourself this at the end of the day. If they lied to you about one thing, why wouldn't they lie to you about everything? And so, hey, just remember, share this video, like this video, share this video because sharing is the way of the future. Like this video if you like this type of content. Let me know if you want to know more about cannabis. And if you're someone that's into cannabis here in Joburg, whether it's a business or you're like me that like to experiment and do things like that, shoot me a message. We can always do some interviews, talk about it. And if you're someone that just want to try out some of the products, let me know. I'm getting back to my passion, man. Like, people don't know, like, I used to have so much fun in Panama just creating products around cannabis and testing different things. And I couldn't do it in Colombia, yo. Like, going to Colombia and getting into weed is just like, there's too much of a stigma around things there. And I was like, that's not the place for me. But like being here in South Africa, being around people, professional people that use it, people, younger people that use it, like even seeing like how open it is here, like it reignited that passion in me to start back. Let me go back to testing stuff on myself, man. Like, the game ain't going to change unless the people that know how to change it start changing it. And one of the things I can say is I know the game of making great marijuana products. And so I got to start changing it, man. And the only way I can do that is start back having fun, playing with it and testing out new products and experimenting on myself. And so just remember, I'm Jason, and success is simple once you know how.